Just this morning, I ran to Starbucks to grab a cappuccino before I came out here this morning, and on the cup was a cute little saying. It said, "Stories are gifts, share." And that's exactly what I'm going to do today, is I'm going to share a story about a vacation I went to in Italy. A few years back, my family and I went to vacation in Italy. It was the last leg of a long journey, and through not quite enough sleep and perhaps a little bit too much wine, I was feeling like I was about to be sick. But of course, we were in Rome, so I wasn't going to be staying in bed at the hotel. I was going to be out adventuring anyway. My brother and I were to set out to find the catacombs of the Capuchin monks, and I had no idea what to expect. It was a particularly cold and windy day, and the sore throat that I had made me feel, with the wind and the dryness of the air, made me feel like as if my saliva had actually turned to molten lava. This is the real fear of volcanoes that Dr. Jim was getting at. I'm absolutely sure it's the sore throat, lava throat. And so we were headed out, and I was filled with apprehension and fear. What was I going to find in the catacombs of these monks? What were they all about, and why do I want to visit their crypt anyway? But I was set at ease when I got to the church, the entrance of the church. It looked just like any other church that we had visited. There was a nun standing at the door accepting donations, and appropriately enough, when we entered the catacombs, we entered first in the gift shop, of course. But this gift shop was unlike any other gift shop that I had ever been in, for the entire walls and the ceiling were covered with an ornate, light, delicate scroll work that carried all the way into the hallway of the catacombs. Yet this scroll work, this intricate lattice, was not made of wood, nor was it made of metal. It was in fact made from human bones. Now, as a massage therapist and a student of anatomy, I was intrigued at the artistic and the delicate creation that the rib bones and the vertebra, the scapula and the tailbone could create, such a beautiful geometric motif. As we entered the first room of the catacomb, this intricate lattice work that surrounded us now became heavy and solid. The walls were filled about wainscoting high, room to room, of the heavier muscles of the legs, of the arms, and the torso. It was as if the entire room were made of thousands of bones, thousands of dead bodies, which in fact they were. It begged the question, exactly how many monks were entombed in this grotesque place? My brother, of course, with the guidebook, supplied the answer. 4,000 dead monks were buried in this catacomb for as much as I could tell, the specific reason of creeping out tourists several hundreds of years later. There, at the chair rail height, there were skeletons, or skulls, side by side. We walked further in, the next room and the next room, and in each preceding room, they had groupings of bones. Some of the monks were actually buried in their entirety, left with the skin on, some in repose, some standing, some in their full-length monk robes, the dark brown of the Capuchin monks. And I was just disturbed at the level of detail you could see on some of their faces, for some of the cheeks still had a thin layer of parchment skin on them. We reached the end of the catacomb, a room like any other, and yet this room had a simple warning. It said, "What you are, we once were. What we are, you will become." Yeah. I was mortified to believe that my body would look so decrepit, so disgusting many years into the future. But even worse than that was the startling fact that these bones that I was surrounded with were at once alive. Rib cages that used to shake with laughter, shoulders that used to heave in tears, now lay motionless. Faces that used to be so intricate, so unique, capable of expressing thousands of emotions, lay side by side, as indistinguishable the one from the other as common pebbles on the ground. The tourists now headed out, moving at a remarkably slower pace than when they were entering the catacomb. We got to the outside, and to my delight, I discovered that the sun had come back out. The warm afternoon sun had heated up the surroundings. My sore throat went away, and I spent the rest of the day blissfully visiting gardens with gorgeous sculptures. Now, the next morning was to be our last morning in Rome. And we started the day very much the same way we started every day, sitting at our hotel balcony at the dining area, waiting for a waitress to bring our cappuccinos. The cappuccinos, to me, just symbolize everything of bliss and pure relaxation. Just such a vibrant, wonderful thing, the cappuccino. In Italy, you don't get cappuccinos to go. They come in cups. You sit, you relax, you enjoy your wonderful beverage. And I thought about the delicate balance that the cappuccino has. It's a beautiful zen of pure white foamy cream on top of the dark, bold, and bitter coffee beneath. The mark of the perfect cappuccino for you cappuccino aficionados is a rim of dark brown on the outside from where the milk pours and touches the surface of the coffee. A light brown rim forms around. That's the mark of a perfect cappuccino. My reverie was broken. "Ah," said my father. He talks like this. "Ah." Did you know that the cappuccino was named from the Capuchin monks because of the color of the brown of the robes is just the color of the rim of the cappuccino? I was devastated. Devastated! The cappuccino, this wonderful, frothy, light beverage that spoke of life and vitality, of relaxation, was now forever in my mind intermingled with death, mortality, despair. I felt as though a cartoon villain had lurked in the shadows and stuck up behind me, dropped 2 drops of poison in my cappuccino. I looked into the foam and I saw for a fleeting second the visage of a skeleton, a skull and crossbones. Poison had been entered into my cup. At a drink, I accepted this new level of irony that the cappuccino would forever mean for me, and I drank. And what happened was very peculiar. For as the caffeine entered my system and I felt that peculiar lift, the vitality, the spirit, I was also focused that I too will one day die. And from this point on in my life, when I drink a cappuccino, I am both highly caffeinated and cognizant of my own mortality. The energy that the caffeine had brought was once unbridled and chaotic, was now harnessed and given meaning. And at the cappuccino, every time that I drink it, every time that I drink a cappuccino, I take this new bridled, harnessed energy and apply it to where do I want to go in my life. And the memory of the Capuchin monks and their message to me is no longer entombed in Rome or dark in the recesses of my mind, but can be found only as far away as your nearest Starbucks.